Okay, we're back with another episode. Our party is still in Corwood. They are about to meet up with Ellery and possibly Sarah at the Corwood Manor, which is basically their city hall, similar to Haldreth. But before we begin the actual narrative, I thought of a very interesting, I thought of more backstory for the Master specifically. Now, I've mentioned so far that he is in some kind of strange, glowy, light, uh, formless or shapeless form. But I actually thought of blending him with the appearance of the entity and himself. So here's what I came up with. Because his physical body has been destroyed, crushed beyond repair, he took this form as the entity powers him, or the energy from the Dark Realms gives him power. This is his most corrupt form. He is boundless to the to reality, and he needs to take a physical form before he disappears. So that is what he currently looks like as he's flying around trying to do is trying to find the Esper dragon. That's what we're that's what the team believes. But I gave him a reason as to why he attacked Ashford in the first place, which led to the whole domino effect of his downfall. And so down here, I also mentioned again, he's basically a blend of many other fictional characters. I gave him the smoke monster, which makes him mysterious from Lost. Black Adam, due to being a chosen one by a higher power, and then Marvel's Apocalypse. He is the first. He was the first to take the power of the Dark Realms, and has lived for hundreds of years. He is a tyrant, and then Lobo, because Lobo killed his whole race, and I wrote that in there. Uh, Responsible for killing his entire Eldoranian race after exposure to the Dark Realms. He went psychotic, and we can say he was evil initially, but with this power boost, he basically took out their entire race. So, which means that's why he destroyed Ashford. Well, kind of. He destroyed Ashford because originally I didn't really know, but I thought, well, it could be related to Edwin. Edwin was there, which is how I believe I have my timeline accurate. If I'm recalling my timeline accurately, he saves Holf. Edwin was there at Ashford in the process of researching the portal because there's a portal beneath. Entity commanded the master to attack. So Edwin was getting a little too close to the entity and to the entity's um, a little too close to comfort. He was getting a little too close and discovering the weakness of the Dark Realms. There is a weakness. I don't know what that weakness is just yet. So Edwin was close to figuring it out. He never really discovered the true weakness. He was just trying to figure out how to destroy the Dark Realms, mainly the portals, not the entire pocket dimension. And so the entity commanded the master to attack. Esper Dragon showed up after the attack. It was too late due to the regional threat level. So again, the dragon is a totally different character and operates on its own merit. So again, I've talked about it before. Esper was seen as a regional threat level, and the dragon has a Godzilla effect. So he cannot have a threat, a power that equals his own, or at least is approachable. So he took him out. Didn't kill him, defeated him. That is how the match looks now. He is just this disembodied, strange, shadowy force that it shows his true evil intentions based on the Dark Realm. So kind of looks like the entity, but is in a human form. Now the entity is on the same page. I actually compacted all the villains in this. So we have our two heroes. We have the antagonists, Jory, the Master, King Genghis. They're really by no specific rank. Like there's no threat level. Um, the entity is that. That's the current vision of the entity. Could be something totally different. But Dormammu did have a physical form, a shape to him as a face. But And actually, in the comics, Dormammu does have a physical humanoid-looking form. In the MCU, he was kind of a big face and a body, like the upper body was being shown. So you could say the Master looks more threatening than the Entity, but the Entity is more has a more simplified design. He's more construct properly as a human, and I think more evil, sadistic looking. While the Master's more terrifying looking, more at front, looks more scarier. So that's how um, Google's image generator saw the Entity or the Master. Now let's go back to Escobar. Currently, as our team approaches, they are looking to find stock up on resources and potential help. So they approach the manor, and we have to ask the Oracle: Is Ellery, Hellery, Ellery, she's the contact that they hope to speak to first. Is she there? She could be somewhere else. Remember, they're trying to rebuild Corwood. They're trying to regain the governance, the power to govern in Corwood. So they're probably being stretched thin, and she's probably leading some kind of improvement, some project nearby. So let's ask the Oracle if she is indeed in the building. We'll go to our Oracle, and we're going to go to the yes no Oracle. And I'm thinking, you know what? I just don't know. 50-50. She could be there. She couldn't be there. Maybe not. Maybe. We'll see. Let's roll the dice and see what happens. 50-50. Oh, wow. She's there. Not. That's a very strong yes. So I'm wondering if that strong yes means something. Let's go to a action. See what she does. She's there. We know this. 58. Betray. Oh, gosh. Betray. 70. Extravagance. Betray extravagance. You know what? I don't think she necessarily betrays her, Sarah. I don't think that's how I'm reading it. I believe extravagance meaning she looks very different. She looks more formal, something she typically does not dress. Clothing she does not typically appear in. Something that Hulf did not, or Mortar did not expect to see her in. Betray meaning that it betrays the usual. It's different. That's how I'm perceiving this these results. So as Mortar and Hulf approach, she's there. She's standing outside the main door, and she's talking to her disciples, talking to her people, and she's pointing and directing them to do things with lifting some stuff around and moving things around. They're doing something in the front of the manor. It probably could be like a nice courtyard. It looks very clean, very different than Mortar remembers. Remember, Mortar is acquainted with her, knows her a bit. Hulf doesn't, but Hulf can probably assume this is her. So Hulf walks up. Mortar walks up first because he is the arbiter here for this current assignment, and Hulf is standing behind. She is wearing again very fancy clothing, a little out of character, and Mortar waves hello. She smiles and she walks up and greets both Mortar and eventually Hulf, and she says, "Good to see you, Mortar. You're back. You're back so soon. How did things go down south?" And then Mortar introduces Hulf to her, and she shakes Paul's hand very firmly. She's very like Furiosa from the recent Mad Max movie, prequel, I believe. And Hulf is very impressed by her handshake, and he nods, "Hello, and then he says, I'm my Mortar's older brother. You must be Ellery." He says, "Yes, I am the mayor of Corwood." And so Mortar looks up at her. Mortar's a little shorter. She's probably almost as tall as Hulf. And he looks confused. And Ellery says, "Oh, you probably didn't hear. Unfortunately, Sarah passed away a few days ago. And so, which again, we saw coming. But Mortar says, I'm sorry for your loss. He was a good man, very brave. The other he says, indeed he was. Indeed he was. Rolf says, my apologies. I'm sorry for your loss. Well, I'm trying to figure out how would he react here. He would say, I'm sorry for your loss. I have not heard. Was he? And he pauses. She says that he led the revolt against the Corwood family regime, and he's responsible for all this. And she naturally was given the responsibility of becoming the mayor for Corwin. So let's update our document here and mention that she is now the mayor of Corwood. That was a little hint right there that she may have been, but she is now the mayor. So there's no details here to fill in. So, which means Sarah has passed away recently. Oops. There we go. He died due to illness. Okay. So I was planning on that happening sometime, just wasn't sure when, but I felt this was appropriate. Now, because of that, Mortar is starting to think this might not be a good time. But she does look pretty busy. She probably took a day, day off personally just to or maybe not. Maybe if I'm thinking Furiosa, she didn't take any rest at all. Sarah prepared her for this, and she took it on in his honor. And again, Holt is kind of acting on the sidelines here. He's not really trying to step in just yet. Once they get to past the formalities about the reason for being here, but Mortar needs to convince her. I think with everything she has on her plate right now, trying to run up, this whole town, this whole settlement, replacing the shoes, replacing her, her boss's shoes as the new mayor of Corwood, post Union, because now Union has pretty much became the rulers of Corwood. I'm not going to really call them the Corwood regime anymore. They're just the Union. So uh, she does ask, "How can I help you, Mortar? After all, you are forever in our debt for saving Sarah initially, and his Galera." He says that they have plans. Then Wolf steps in. He's kind of stuttering. He's trying to figure out how to word it. He's like, well, he looks to Holf. Holf says, I realize this timing might not be the best, but we do need help. We are seeking gear, equipment, weapons, resources. We're looking to travel up to the mountains and meet with the Esper Dragon himself. She then laughs, not cynically, she laughs like kind of sarcastically. The Esper Dragon, are you serious right now? He says, yes. We have we have a strong belief that the dragon is real. And that this northern island in its entirety is in danger. We don't want. Well, okay, so I have to step this back a bit because I don't want him. Oh, I completely forgot. My apologies. Okay, let's walk it back. I was not supposed to reveal that yet. So I'm stepping it back here, and basically, he does say they need weapons, tools, and resources. And she says, "Oh, absolutely. Mortar here has done so much for us. May I ask why? Do you need some type of weapon? Are you traversing south for where you off to?" And he says, "It is a family. It is." What would Wolf say here? Does Wolf lie? Is he good at lying? I don't know. I'm trying to think of Judge Dredd here. He probably can lie, or he doesn't say much. He doesn't say everything. Doesn't feed her all the details. So what he says is, we are traveling. Me and my brother here. We're handling some family matters, and it's require quite the distance. We would highly appreciate any help you can give us. Tools, equipment, even personnel. And Ellery, she gets a little not defensive. She gets a little question. She questions it. Personnel. You need. Do you need bodies? And Hall says yes. We could use a few hands. anybody who's good at traveling great distances. And Mortar is a little, he's a little worried that this might not work out. She is willing to give tools, but in terms of actual manpower, no. So we're gonna have to roll for this. It will be an opposing roll because she is her own character. So this is Hulf. He has again taken the responsibility of talking, and I think this would be called. This would be. All right. So I'm going to because they completed the last arc. I bumped up some dice. I bumped up. You can train. You're supposed to kind of train the dice, but I just kind of gave them a little upgrade. I gave an upgrade to Strike for both characters, but I'm also giving an upgrade to Entice, which is Hulf, um, to a D6. Both of them a D6, Strike and Entice. So this could also be willpower, but there's also command. But I think Entice fits the bill. So we're rolling opposed. I'm going to give her a D8. She's actually quite formidable as a character. So let's go to our tray here, our dice tray. He has a D6. Now we're going to compel the aspect Stern Authority, which will require a fate point or a ardor. And this will be two dice, so that D and a D8. Now, whoops, for her, she will have the D8. All right, so here we go. We're trying to convince her to give us not just the weapons and such. That probably she was going to do anyways. But I believe that this effort is for the manpower. Basically, what do you call it? There's a D&D term, not just companions per se, retainers. Retainers. Here we go. We're rolling both sides here. Oh my God. Oh gosh, that's terrible. I got equal twos. Yeah, that's a failure on both sides. Okay, so okay, so how can we fit this in narratively for her no here? Opposing rules is I'm glad I have that split screen now. I don't just have a set number. Hmm. All right, so how does she say no politely? She shakes her head and says, I apologize, Mortar, for everything you've done for us." She looks down at Mortar and then back at Ulf. Ulf, I'm sure you are very formidable and a very talented individual, like your brother. Only naturally you two are able to do so much for us. To able to do so much. I am short-staffed here. As you can see, she's showing they're doing something in the front with the boxes. They're trying to clean out the manor. She's I'm not. I'm short-staffed. We're trying to take care of the city, or trying to take care of Corwood after the Corwood regime fell, and I have people everywhere stretched thin. I'm not able to provide you with any arms. I do apologize. She's apologizing profusely, and Hulf is like, "It's quite all right." He looks to Hulf, or he looks to Mortar. "Do you know of anyone that we can find a horse or two?" She says, "Now this might just be a simple roll. I think this would just be a entice. Let's just do a simple roll, a fixed roll, to see if she knows. This will kind of also drive the narrative. Entice with a d6, and we'll go with the 4. Okay, 4. 4 is the basic number. It's not opposing her. She's not resisting in any manner. So she's like, yes, actually, there is a stable out on the southern entrance of the Corwood, south entrance of Corwood. You might be able to find a few horses there. We're not too sure how many are available, but I'm perhaps confident you will be able to find a few." So the Hulf looks to Mortar and says, "Have you ever rode a horse?" And Mortar's like, "Yep, actually down to Arlock." He's like, "Yeah, actually down to Arlock, not too long ago." And looks to Ellery, and Ellery's like, "I did hear of your little venture to Arlock. That was quite impressive." Wait, Ellery was there. Right, I forgot. Ellery was there. She helped. Yeah, she helped save both Mortar and Damon out of the portal. Reached in, grabbed them. Yeah, that's right. I completely forgot. She's like, "Yeah, I was there." So, and Hulf is like, "You have not told me everything. I have missed out on so much." And Ellery says, "Well, after you guys take care of what you're doing, why don't you come back? We can talk. We can have lunch, share some stories." And I was like, "I like that." And Mortar is like, What's going on here? So they kind of, Hulf and Ellery kind of like stare at each other for a moment because they're very alike. I mean, Dread, Furiosa, perfect match. So Ellery smiles and she's like, "Well, if you need anything as far as tools, it's right down into the main entrance here to the right. There is a man." She says, "I have one of my people guarding the door, but mention that I sent you there, and take what you need. You're welcome to whatever you want, whatever you can carry." And then Hulk thanks her, shakes her hand. Mortar shakes her hand, and she turns around and continues on to her business. So we go into the manor. We take a right, and there's a large door that says um, something storage, and there is someone guarding the door, and Hulf says who they are. Mortar recognizes the guard. The guard actually probably does recognize Mortar, and he says, "Oh, you helped us with all this. Thank you so much." Shakes his hand. So what can I help you with? Hulf says, "We are here. Furiosa. Yeah. Uh, Ellery said we were able to restock on some items if we could cross through, please." And he says, "Oh yes, right away." And he opens the door and lets him in. So they enter the room, and now I'm going. So here's what we have as far as equipment. Um, Hulf has a longbow, arrows, a snare trap that was from the game, blade, short sword, the purse, which is the currency, leather jerkin, magic sword. Mortar has longbow, arrows, blade, dark cloak, lock picks, soft shoes, daggers times two, purse, and magic stone. Oh, right, the magic stone. Oh, the magic stone. I forgot we used it. He still has it. We'll keep it as it is. Damon still has the other half, the other part of the stone. So let's look at. I'm looking at my equipment list here, and what I want to do is give Hulf a better armor. So I feel like he's turning into a fighter more than a ranger at this point. And so for armor, I'm going to give him a like I said, right now he has a leather jerkin, and if we would give him a the next level up in terms of armor, I will I'm gonna find it and I'll pause the video and I'll be right back. Okay, so as they go through the tools and the storage room of various lightweight weapons and shields and armor, not much actually. They can't find much, but they do find a few resourceful things. So here's what Hulf picked up. He disregarded the leather jerkin he had before. Now he has a Gamperson. In the game, Gamperson is rated at D4. I bumped up to a D6 because he was D4 for leather jerkin. I also gave him a buckler shield, something small, not overwhelmingly large. Because again, he's still a ranger at heart, but I believe he is transitioning to a fighter in the far future. And then bandages, which are D4. That's tied to heal. Now, and he also has the magic sword, which is a D8. I'm actually thinking about giving that a D10 because I feel like that's a quest item that's supposed to be the item to defeat the master. So, which is still kind of a plot hole. We'll figure that out as far as why the magic sword. Oh, well, I do recall the master kept it at his temple. He can't destroy it himself. He can't touch it, but it was somehow his weakness. So that is his weakness, which could be linked to the Dark Realms. We can probably tie that in together somehow in the future, which would be fine. And then Mortar picked up bandages for D4. He is stocked pretty well. He has Dark Cloak for D6, a longbow D8. I think he's fine. He's got D10 worth of arrows. So I think that's good for both of them. And then they also have the Dark Bending powers, which might not work at that distance away from a portal. But yeah, they are all set and stocked from what they can find. So they are a little dissatisfied if they couldn't find anything else. They leave. The guard asks if they were able to find what they needed. They say yes. They're not going to say, "Wow, that was total shit. That was totally." They're just going to say, "We thank you again." And Mortar shakes his hand and Hulk shakes his hand firmly, and they leave. So as they leave the uh, family, the Corwood Manor, let's see what happens. I'm going to go to our Oracle and roll on the subject. 31. Benefits. Okay. Benefits, then we have 46, develop. Something, benefits develop. Benefits develop. Well, maybe, does it benefit the team? Yes. It develops, meaning it just, something arrives. Moss. Moss arrives. Benefit develops. She is a benefit. Okay, so Moss is a very unique character. She, again, I kind of put her in the realm of, where is she at? Neutral, very neutral. V for Vendetta. So she, again, she fights the power. But I feel like her character should change here because she's no longer fighting against repression. She's not exactly trying to overthrow the government because the government is peaceful now. Corwood is finally under um, a peaceful ruler, a new government. So I don't exactly know what her character could sit as now. What could be inspired? What her character can be inspired by an actual movie character. I'm sure I'll think of one. Let's say I'm gonna pause the video and I'll figure that out. Sarah Connor, highly skilled, kind of operates outside the means of general of the regular of society. She is a fighter. Well, not a fighter class, but she is a fighter as a person. She can kick ass, take names, chew bubblegum, and you know, all that. So I feel like her character right now can probably be the Sarah Connor, but a rogue version of her. So let's put that in here. So she's more so a rogue, but uh, I feel like that could be a suitable change. So going from V from Vendetta to Sarah Connor, someone who's probably more open about her skill set. V kind of worked in the shadows, overthrow the government regime. So here's what happens. Basically, while they leave, Moss is actually, they see Moss speaking to Ellery. She's standing there and they're kind of exchanging stories. They're talking, laughing, and uh, Ulf keeps walking, doesn't really notice it. Mortar stops and notices Moss, and he says, "Moss, is that you?" She looks over and she smiles, and she walks over to walks over to Ulf and hugs him. Ulf turns around. I'm sorry, hugs Mortar. Ulf stops, turns around, doesn't hear the footsteps, and he's like, "What's going on, brother?" Moss sees um, Ulf and says, "Oh, this must be your bigger brother." And Ulf uh, walks back to Mortar and says, "Hi, you are?" And actually, he would say to Mortar, you have quite a lot of friends, brother." Mortar introduces this. He says, "This is Moss. She's a very skilled rogue. She is. We've worked together many times, and she's helped me out so many times when Corwood was here, when the Corwood family regime took over. So she, if we need help, I recommend we talk to her." And she said, what do you mean?" And Ellery's kind of listening from a distance. And Holf says, "Well, if you're willing to, we're on a special assignment. If you can, we could use the help. We need someone who is skilled in hunting, potential some conflict, calling it conflict. Basically, he tells her that they are on a family related manner to travel south, and Moss looks to Mortar and says, "You're going south again?" And he says, "Not exactly." And so he Moss says, "Well, I've been helping Ellery with the things happening around here. You know, how much time are we talking here?" And Ellery then turns around. So now we have four characters talking. So I'm gonna do my best to keep track here. Ellery says, "You're not looking to take Moss, are you?" Mortar says, "Well, yeah, we could. I mean, I know her well enough. She's very skilled, and she's the best out of everybody around here. She'll be a big help here. It's just details are a little And he keeps looking to Hulk because Hulk is again trying to keep this whole situation on the down low. And Hulk realizes, you know what? He has to tell them. So he's looking around. Hulk kind of does this because like, can we talk over here? So Hulk, Mortar, Moss, and Ellery gather kind of off to the side, away from the group, and they start talking. Hulk fills him on the basics, says that there is a existential threat that is related to the Esper dragon. Again, now Ellery, well, I don't think she laughs. I think at the point, I think because this now revealing it. Because before I made a mistake, now he's revealing it, and I think she smirks and says, "The Esper dragon, that's just an urban myth. It's a fairy tale." And Hulk gives some propelling, very perplexing information and states what happened in the Dark Realms and the Master, what he discovered. So she's slightly convinced. She says, okay, what does the Master have to do with this? And he says he doesn't know. That's why they need to go speak to the dragon. They need to go up, travel up to the Esper Peak. And Moss, let's ask the Oracle, is she very intrigued? Remember, she's been cooped up in this settlement for far too long. I think she wants to venture out there, grow past being just a rogue thief that was trying to survive. So let's go to the Oracle and see. I think she's very likely she wants to get out of here and go on this little adventure. 87. Very likely. That's a no, unfortunately. Okay, so she says no. She says that's very Griffin, but I have a lot to do here. I mean, Ellery, we have so much to catch up on. Mortar kind of understands. He says, I know you typically like to stay within Corwin walls. It's unfortunate. And then Hulf is just kind of listening. He doesn't want to force her to help. Ellery says, "Look, I told you guys, I'm sorry. I'm short-handed, and especially her. She's my best. She's my best person for this for the team, or she's my best. She's my best member of the union." And then, what a surprise! Like you joined the union? And Moss makes jokes. Yeah. Sorry, phone call. Okay, sorry about that. Work call. Now, I feel like the scene is getting a little out of pace. So here's what's going to happen. Um, Moss, I feel like she is a big part of the new Corwood establishment, and Ellery is basically saying that she is vital to the team, and they can't really spare her. As much as resourceful and talented as she is, and possibly wants to go beyond the walls of Corwood, she feels like she's has to help here. Ellery probably saved her life once or helped her, and she feels like a debt is owed. So they ultimately cannot convince her because of that role. Well, we asked the Oracle if she wants to, like she generally wants to go, and she doesn't. But can Mortar convince her now? So that's what we'll do. We'll do another opposing role, and I feel she's a D6 character. Ellery was a D8. So Mortar is doing this one. Entice is a D4. He's not the most convincing. So D4. And we can spend a fate point to use compassion. He's compassionate, willing to. Uh, he says a few things from the past of how much he helped her, how much she helped him, how much fun they had together. And then she is, again, she's a D6. So we're now going to roll it. Luckily, we're not in conflict right now. My ass kicked. Okay, that's a no. Barely, though. It's barely a no. I'm not going by the total. I'm going by the highest roll. Wow. Pathetic. Mortar just starts talking, like, but yeah, but what about the times we did this? And Moss is like, no, no, no. Look, you guys, I'm sorry. I need to help Ellery. And Ellery's just gonna stand there. She's being a little impatient. She's, guys, we have a lot to do. I'm sorry. Mortar, again, she does. Appreciate everything you've done for us, but we have to get back to our business. So Ulf says, okay, I apologize, ladies. We'll be on our way. But thank you for your time. Thank you for the equipment and such. Of course, please take care. Be careful wherever you're off to. And don't call us ladies. So, what? So Rolf and Whiteborder leave, and they make their way back to probably to go see their father. I mean, they leave now. They leave the manor. But where else? Oh, they have to go to the stables. So I think they've already made they've already said goodbye to Damon and Clara at this point, and now they go to the stables to get the horse, two horses. So they get to the stables. We are still in Corwood. We're probably just on the southern edge here, and but they need a map. That's the problem. They need a map. So they probably could have asked her. So let's do this. Let's take a step back here in the story. And before they left from Ellery, they asked her, "Do you happen to have a map of the Northern Islands?" And she says, she's thinking, and Moss remembers that she probably does back at her little. Well, I think she probably now lives somewhere near the manor. So let's say they gave them a map. So I will give Holth the map. It's just a map. It's probably detailed enough, so I'll do a D6. Maybe it's the one that was in um, Tegan, his office when he was killed. There was a map on the table, if I don't recall correctly, or if I'm making it up on the spot. But yeah, that's the map that Tegan used to have, and they're going to use that. So they do give him a map. I'm again kind of auto-correcting here, and then they leave. So now we're on our way to the stables to get some horses. So that's where I'm going to conclude this episode. And this was a filler episode. Not much happened here. We had a couple rolls, but again, I feel like every other episode's typically filler in a way. That's really all I can do for now. So, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time.